period pain, otherwise known as dysmenorrhea, is something women experience all throughout their lives, and they don't need to. Period pain is not normal. We shouldn't be experiencing pain when we have our menstruation or bleeding in our period, and it's something that we need to discuss and just get some clarity and some education around it. Hi, my name is Kelsey. I am the owner and founder of the Intuitive Studio. I am a naturopath, nutritionist, and yoga and meditation teacher. And in today's vidcast, we are talking about dysmenorrhea, otherwise known as period pain. So period pain is near and dear to my heart because I've experienced it my whole life, and it is something that can really affect your quality of life. Especially if you have been experiencing it your whole life, you might not know anything different, but period pain, we're not supposed to be experiencing it. Even at the high level, maybe some mild pain, but not to the extent that some people do experience it. So first I wanted to talk about just our period cycle, our menstrual cycle overall, just so you have an idea of what actually happens in a menstrual cycle. So first we have our day one. So our day one starts on the first day of our bleed. From day 1 to day 14, this is just talking about a regular cycle. Everyone is different, so you might have irregular cycles or different length cycles. I'm just talking about a normal 28-day cycle. So on the day 1 to 14, this is where we have an increase of estrogen. Our brain and our ovaries are talking. So this is what's called the HPO axis, the hypothalamic pituitary ovarian axis. So what in this area, we're just prepping our body for the ovulation and for implantation of sperm. When we get to day 14, 15, this is when we are ovulating. So our ovaries are ovulating an egg, which goes through the fallopian tubes, and it's getting ready to be fertilized by the sperm. So if this doesn't happen, if our fertilization doesn't happen, through this process as well, our endometrium, so our uterine walls, is creating an endometrium lining. This is to support the egg when it's fertilized, and this is a hormone-based response. So in the endometrium lining, this is all functioned by hormones. So that is really driven by progesterone and estrogen and some other hormones in there as well. I don't want to go too into the weeds, but I just want to give you a general overview. And then once the egg is not fertilized by sperm, this is when we have our menstruation, so the shedding of that endometrium lining. So this is where we have our bleed, and this is the point where we can experience our period pain. Like I was saying before, the endometrium is a major factor in the causing of this period pain, and this is because of the shedding action. So when I was saying the hormone balance, this is because the shedding of the endometrium is reliant on progesterone dropping. So if progesterone is dropping too fast, this is causing an increase of prostaglandins, which is a hormone-like substance which creates inflammation in the uterus. So when this prostaglandin release occurs, this is causing the inflammation in our uterus. And when this happens, we can experience symptoms like contraction type symptoms, really bad pain in our lower abdomen, in our lower back, even our legs, even going up to our stomach. We can feel nauseous, we can feel dizzy, we can feel a lack of energy, we can feel really sick and ill, and just this really, really bad pain in that area. And it is really dependent on how long it lasts, depending on your body. But I know, and you know, that it's not pleasant at all. When this happens, this is called a primary dysmenorrhea. It is caused by this drop of progesterone, which increases the prostaglandin release, causing the inflammation and the spasm in the uterus. We also have what's called secondary dysmenorrhea. So this is linked to an underlying disease. And this is why you need to go to your health professional and get this period pain checked out properly. So getting an exam, getting questioning, having some tests done, having a scan done to make sure there's not anything else going on. So other things that could be going on is fibroids, so that's growth in your uterine muscle. We have endometriosis. So March is all about Endometriosis Awareness Month. This is coming out after March, but endometriosis is coming out of the darkness that it was in. It's so much more common than people think, but endometriosis is when the endometrium lining that we're talking about that was sitting in the uterus is actually growing outside of the uterus. So they're finding that endometrium lining on the intestines, on the bowel, like all these different places. And once this progesterone drops, this inflammation increases, it's causing this horrific pain all across the body. And it's so important to get this checked out, because any level of pain should be checked out, and making sure that we're preventing further damage from happening, and you want your quality of life to be good. So traditional allopathic medicine, so the Eastern medicine that we're using today, that we have with the doctors prescribing pharmaceuticals, usually, hopefully, if you have period pain, Panadol, ibuprofen usually calms it down because it decreases the inflammation. But if that is not occurring, then something else is going on, and it's really important that you get that checked out. Another thing that can be instigating this inflammation is an underlying histamine allergic reaction. So histamine is what is getting distributed once we have an allergic reaction. It's coming out of our mast cells that causes inflammation. So there might be something in your food, in something that you're ingesting or putting on your skin that is causing an underlying histamine reaction. So it's important just to see if anything else is popping up in your body. So if you're having eczema, or if you have bloating or diarrhea, change in bowel, other than your period, then there might be an underlying excess histamine response going on. I wanted to talk about some risk factors as well about period pain, because I think it's important just to be aware that this could be also impacting the period pain and the level of period pain that is occurring. So some of the period pain risk factors include if you've started your menstrual period at an early age. So early age is around 10. So a regular, normal human being usually starts their period around age 14, 12 to 14. But if it's any earlier than that, then that puts you at a higher risk of having period pain. Also, some nervous systems, some mental health diseases can also impact period pain, including depression and anxiety, and also a high body mass index. This is because this causes more inflammation, and this could be contributing to the period pain as well. So this period pain can last from the first day of your bleed to the last day of your bleed. It can occur before you bleed. It really depends on the person. And other symptoms that could be occurring are like PMS symptoms, so sugar cravings and irritability. You could also have headaches, lack of energy, nausea, and change in bowel movements. This is because of that inflammation causing the spasms in your intestine. So all these can be occurring as well. So it's a really big storm of all these symptoms that's not pleasant. And especially if you experience it every month, you might be wiped out for the whole week, a couple days, and it's really, really not great for your life, your quality of life. So I really wanted to share with you some things that you can do in your day-to-day life to help you get through the period pain. Obviously, like I said, go see your health professional. Make sure you are ruling out all underlying causes. But these are some of the things that you can slowly start to integrate. So overall your health and well-being is better for it. So introducing yoga. Yoga is so good for period pain because it allows your body to come into the parasympathetic nervous system response. So I've talked about this a lot, especially in my gut feeling webinar, which is a free webinar, which you can look at in the link below. But the parasympathetic nervous system is where we rest and digest. So we allow our body to heal. So yoga is really great for this. Some postures that you can include is child's pose. So having your forehead on the mat, allowing your hips to open, allowing that deep breathing to come through and just softening through the lower back, you will find that everything just softens just slightly. Obviously, this is not a cure or anything. It just allows your body just to soften into the waves of the period pain. Also, having deep breathing is really good as well. Just breathing through those motions, breathing through the pain, the spasms that's happening in your uterus can be really beneficial. Really having that deep breathing can really impact in the relaxing of the muscles. It's telling your body that it's safe, and it'll hopefully reduce some of the pain severity. Other things that you can really incorporate into your day-to-day life is including really oily fish. So like salmon, tuna. This is because the omega-3s in the fish really helps with the decrease of inflammation in your body. So it's really preventing you getting to that pain in your period. Other things is what we found in research is that cow's milk can also create that histamine response, so that inflammatory response. So avoiding cow's milk can really help improve it. And that's not saying that you can't have it at all, but maybe not every day. Maybe in your coffee you have something else instead of cow's milk, because then that will help when you get to your period stage. That will reduce down even further. Other things that you probably have already integrated includes getting a hot water bottle, putting that on your abdomen. This really helps. The heat really helps to soften the muscles and relax the muscles. And just resting, giving yourself permission to rest. Like, this is a time where your body is just screaming out that it needs to rest. So take as much time as you need. You don't have to push through it. Please don't push through it, because your body is telling you you need to rest. It's going through something and you need to let it heal. So some herbs that might be able to help as well include cramp bark. So especially if you're having those really spasmolytic cramps, cramp bark allows the body to soften, allows the reduction in those spasms in your uterus. Other ones include ginger, so that's anti-inflammatory, reduces the inflammation in your body, and it also supports with nausea. So if you get really nauseous around your period time and around when these cramps are happening, ginger is a great thing that you can have. So maybe some ginger tea, some ginger and lemon tea is really good to integrate into your routine, your period pain care routine. And another one that you can include is Vitex, that I usually prescribe patients and clients that have dysmenorrhea, especially with the big progesterone drop that might be occurring. Vitex actually supports and increases the progesterone production, so it allows that smooth transition, that smooth trend down rather than a steep drop. So Vitex is really good for this. So Vitex or Chase Tree is really good to just level it out a bit and just have that small, slow decline rather than that massive drop. We also have turmeric, so that's really good. You can have some turmeric in your smoothie. You might have a turmeric shot. You might just have it as a herbal tincture, even though it's super potent. But it is anti-inflammatory. It is awesome. It is such a good herb to introduce into your daily routine as well. And then some nutrients. So we have some great nutrients that are really helpful and supportive through this time. So one is One of them is NAC, so N-acetylcysteine, and this is a precursor to glutathione, which is the most abundant antioxidant in the body. So it really helps to alleviate that oxidative stress, which can cause damage to our cells. And it is also an immune regulator. So the histamine response is connected to our immune system, so it really helps reduce the inflammation overall. It is also really good for anxiety as well. And then we have magnesium. So magnesium is one of my all-time favorite nutrients because it does so much for the nervous system and the body. So it really allows the body to relax the muscles, reduce the spasms, and it's also really good for anxiety, which can increase the inflammation as well. And then we have zinc. So zinc is great as a preventative for the release of prostaglandins. So it's really good to include into your diet. So having those dark leafy greens, it's just an overall really good nutrient to have in your diet, trying to get different sources in there as well. So just to wrap everything up, the message that I wanted to get to you is that period pain is not normal. All of this is just for educational purposes. It's not to diagnose anything, but period pain is not normal. You need to go seek a health professional's advice, get their opinion, get the tests done, get the different physical examinations done, and make sure there's nothing underlying happening in your body. We really want to improve your quality of life. I want to improve my quality of life. And these are some of the tips and tricks that I've found that helps me, that helps clients, that you can start to integrate into your life. But it's utmost important that you go seek professional help to help you through this and help you get the best care that you can possibly get. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, please like and subscribe, and I'll be posting more videos soon. Bye.